Hi there, and welcome to the IBAC Tech Trek, where we explore the outer reaches of insurance technology. Bonjour à tous et bienvenue au Tech Trek de l'IBAC, où nous explorons les nouvelles frontières des technologies d'assurance. Today's episode is a bit special, since we're talking with the leaders of the RCCAQ, who will be moving between English and French to get the best insights from our guests. L'épisode d'aujourd'hui est un peu spécial, comme nous discutons avec les leaders du RCCAQ. Notre conversation alternera entre l'anglais et français afin de profiter pleinement de l'expertise de nos invités. I am joined today by Philippe Martineau, Yvan Foster, and Éric Manseau. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Can I just get you guys to do a quick intro of yourselves? And I'm going to go clockwise around my screen here. So maybe, Yvan, could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, Yvan Foster. I'm the CEO of Sphere AI, and I started to work with the RCCAQ in 2020. I was approached for my expertise in artificial intelligence, and they wanted to understand how that new technology could help the brokers evolve and use new technology. And I've been there since then.
Oui, merci beaucoup, Tom, pour l'invitation et félicitations pour ton français. Je pensais pas que tu parlais français, alors maintenant que je le sais, on va pouvoir... Alors, merci encore pour l'invitation. Donc, Éric Manseau, directeur général du regroupement des cabinets de courtage Assurance du Québec depuis 2018. Donc, et auparavant, fait une carrière dans les services financiers dans un groupe qui s'appelle Desjardins. Alors, voilà. Merci encore.
And over to you, JP.
Yes, thanks, Tom. Thanks for doing this. Really appreciate the airtime for the RCCAQ. So my name is Jean-Philippe Martineau, or for the intimate, JP will do. So I'm president of Covalent Insurance. We're a brokerage based here in Montreal, more specifically in Laval. We're a commercial-orientated brokerage, but we also do personal lines. And since I took over the brokerage in 2015, we really orientated our efforts towards innovation and technology, which led me to be very vocal with the RCCAQ and participated at the first tech committee, which led to the RCCAQ innovation team, and we'll gladly share what we do with the in terms of innovation here at the RCCAQ. So I basically wear two hats in this podcast.
Awesome. And I'll give a bit of my own background with the RCCAQ because it's kind of what led me to reach out to you guys. So a couple of years ago, Éric, I think it was you had reached out to me, or maybe it was Yvan who reached out to me and said that you guys were going to do this technology summit, Summit Tech, first one. And, was I interested in participating? And I thought, great, sure. I grew up in Quebec. I always like to go back. I have family there. So I went out to the first tech summit was really blown away and by the summit itself, but also what the RCCAQ was doing. And I saw that, here is this association that was really pushing the envelope, had really driven a lot of good thinking and was doing a lot of great practical things for brokers. And I thought, we need to publicize this, because if Quebec can do it, surely other provinces could follow that particular lead. So let's jump into some of these questions here. So I'll start with Éric. So Éric, le RCCAQ a adopté une approche beaucoup plus proactive en matière de technologie que plusieurs autres associations provinciales au Canada. Quel a été l'élément déclencheur qui a convaincu le conseil d'administration de l'RCCAQ de aller au-delà de la défense des traditionnels pour créer une équipe d'innovation et un sommet technologique?
Oui, je pense qu'il y a eu plusieurs facteurs qui ont contribué à ça. Un des éléments est sans doute la loi 2017-2018 où le gouvernement autorise la distribution de produits d'assurance de dommages par Internet, donc à 100% par Internet. Donc après, évidemment, avoir plaidé contre ça, essayer de faire en sorte que ça n'arrive pas, eh bien, c'est arrivé, la loi est passée et on était face à ça. On était aussi face à des compétiteurs directs. Vous savez qu'au Québec, beaucoup d'assureurs directs avec des moyens effectivement très, très gros. On pense à Belair, on pense à Beneva, on pense à Desjardins. Donc, c'est des gens qui ont quand même beaucoup de moyens et d'ambition. Donc, on se bat contre ces gens-là. On est en concurrence contre ces gens-là. Alors, le conseil d'administration et ses membres, à un moment donné, a dit, ah là, donc il y a des choses qu'on peut pas éviter. Comme tu l'as dit, Tom, le lobbying traditionnel n'est pas suffisant. Il y a des forces concurrentielles, le marché est là, on met de la pression, donc il faut réagir. D'autant plus que dans plusieurs des développements technologiques, les consommateurs y étaient pour la plupart favorables. Hein, on parle d'acheter une assurance via Internet, ben ça tombe sous le sens. Donc, les consommateurs sont rendus là aussi. Donc, le conseil d'administration a dit, bon, puisque c'est comme ça, il faut peut-être ajouter un autre élément à notre mission. Donc, plutôt que de défendre et promouvoir seulement, on va soutenir nos cabinets de courtage dans ces aspects-là pour, évidemment, les rendre concurrentiels, pour qu'ils s'adaptent aux consommateurs et à leurs préférences. Donc, c'est un peu comme ça que le conseil a changé sa posture là, face à la technologie puis à la nécessité de développer des choses pour ses membres.
Yvonne, you lead the innovation team. To a broker listening who might be overwhelmed by this hype, and let's be honest, there is a ton of hype, especially with the advent of artificial intelligence. How do you define your team's mission? Are you helping them choose products? Are you a lab, a bridge between what the government's doing, and the realities of small brokerage offices? Where do you play? How is it you actually help the broker?
Yeah, I will say all of the above, Tom. Of course, we acted as a bridge to help the government apply its digital transformation strategy to the broker's domain. But our initial action plan was built on two main pillars. The first one involved conducting a comprehensive technology watch to understand the different technology solutions available to the brokers, right? We didn't limit ourselves to the brokerage management system, the BMS. Our scope also included the system integration, IP telephony, human resources, CRM platforms, and of course, artificial intelligence. In cases where specific technology seemed especially promising, we tested it in a real-world lab setting. We called it Laboratoire Vivant in French, specifically within a partner brokerage firm. So we teamed the technology team with a broker. They tested the solution. They made comment to enhance the solution and so on. And now we have 5 of those very well documented. The second pillar focused on developing a methodology to guide brokers in selecting the right solution. While I won't go into details, I can say that the initial needs assessment was the critical part of the process. Naturally, we documented all the projects we undertook. That allowed us to build an extremely rich knowledge base, and we continue to propose our knowledge and we call it an excellence center. We propose our services to all the brokers in the province of Quebec.
I find that filtering or evaluation process incredibly important, because if you go back, let's say 15 or 20 years, the only real technology available to brokers was the BMS. And if this, maybe a few brokers look outside of the industry for something like a CRM solution or something. But, today, I could probably name 20, maybe 30 insurtech firms. And that's before you get into something that's, applicable, but not actually in our sphere. Right. And I know at that first tech summit, you had Semiar there, you had Koyos, you had Jazz Communications, you had Trufla, a few others I don't remember. These ones literally didn't exist some of them 5 years ago. And so for a broker, it could be overwhelming with all these new tech companies and new ideas and coming along. I'm sure brokers react very positively to somebody helping them understand this deluge of new things.
I would say, Tom, in line with that, and there's this particular aspect also in Quebec, is that a lot of these fund tech, insurtechs, see the Canadian market and approach the Anglophone side of it, and it's not necessarily, Quebec is not the first market they'll attack. Let's just say it like that. And for us, we play that double role to attract these insurtechs and put them in front of the Quebec market, the Quebec brokers, because it's not necessarily the first reflex to do so. So it's kind of a twofold mission there. Just always constantly making sure that we're looking out for all the brokers, what's out there, and bring what we feel is interesting and applicable to our Quebec community here.
Well, I will say the reverse is a little bit true too, because a couple of years ago at that first tech summit, I met Koyos, who I didn't know existed. I met Samiar, who I didn't know existed, and Jazz, who I knew a little bit but didn't know all the things they were doing. And I walked away from that day thinking, wow, there's this amazing insurtech hub going on in Montreal.
I'm glad things are changing, because we do feel that there's, with the IBAC, the efforts at the IBAC and now the other provinces, there's more communication between all these tech committees that are being created across the country. And I do feel that there's a certain synergy build up there.
It's an interesting conversation because I harken back to the comment you made about brokers having to compete against large direct writers. And, the fact is, outside of maybe BrokerLink and Navicord, none of these guys have marketing budgets anywhere near what the direct writers can bring. And so you need to bring the community together. And so bringing the provincial associations together is just the next extension of that.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
All this stuff takes money. So let's talk about funding. So, Éric, vous avez réussi à obtenir des subventions gouvernementales pour proposer cette initiative d'innovation. C'est un modèle unique dans le secteur de l'assurance de dommages au Canada. Comment ce financement se traduit-il concrètement en avantage pour vos membres et croyez-vous que ce modèle québécois devrait servir d'exemple pour le reste du pays?
Oui, écoute, c'est une bonne question, Tom. C'est sûr que, oui, le financement et le nerf de la guerre, c'est effectivement le cas. On a été chanceux. On a été chanceux au Québec parce que le gouvernement de la coalition Avenir Québec est un gouvernement pro-entreprise, pro-PME et a ouvert la bourse, a donné des subventions à des PME et a donné une subvention aussi au RCCAQ. Donc, on a été très chanceux. Évidemment, on a monté le dossier. On va quand même prendre un peu de crédit avec l'aide d'Yvan et de Jean-Philippe. Là, on a monté un dossier solide pour obtenir ce 3,7 millions-là de dollars là, en subvention. Je vais laisser Yvan aller dans le détail, mais grosso modo, on a 3 grands piliers à l'intérieur là, de cette aide-là. Un, la sensibilisation. On s'est rendu compte que nos cabinets au Québec n'étaient pas sensibilisés. Enfin, c'était pas tous les cabinets qui étaient sensibilisés à l'idée de la transition numérique, de faire des développements dans le cabinet, d'avancer là-dedans. Il a fallu mettre des sous pour sensibiliser les gens, d'où le Sommetech, les Sommetech, les éditions qui sont venues, d'où la publicité qu'on a fait autour. Donc ça, c'était important. Et à un moment donné, on s'est rendu compte qu'il fallait mettre des sous là-dedans parce que les gens étaient plus ou moins sensibilisés. La deuxième affaire, c'est l'accompagnement. Donc, Yvan en a parlé un petit peu, il pourra revenir là-dessus, mais l'accompagnement de nos cabinets, ça a été, je dirais, un point majeur. On est dans le cabinet avec des spécialistes. On regarde la situation particulière du cabinet et on fait un plan. Donc, c'est super. Et le troisième point qu'il ne faut pas négliger, c'est la gestion de projet. Alors, il faut avoir quelqu'un. Puis nous, on avait la chance d'avoir Yvan comme maître d'œuvre, comme architecte. Et ça prend quelqu'un pour, un, qui s'y connaît, et deux, qui est capable de gérer les projets. Et c'est ce que Yvan a fait là, en amenant son expertise. Donc, ces trois éléments-là, je pense que ça a été extrêmement gagnant. Je ne sais pas si Yvan, tu veux you want to add more
Yeah,
there?
yeah, maybe I can add that, the money that we got had a major impact. Without the money, I don't know what we could have done because basically that was, when you go to brokers and you say, I can offer you $50,000, we're going to help you understand how to build a project, how to analyze your needs, and so on. It makes a big difference. Because when I came in to work with RCCAQ, I started to work with the technical committee. I heard all kinds of problems that they wanted to solve. But at the same time, I could see that the way the brokers chose their solution was by talking to their neighbors. Okay. I know that broker that has bought that solution. It seems to be working fine, so I'll buy it. Okay. We all know that that's not the way you should choose technology. But they didn't, at the same time, they didn't have anybody in their firm to take that ball and go with it, right? So that's the role that we were able to play by saying, okay, we're going to offer you some money, but you have to follow the rules. And here are the rules. Okay, we're going to start by analyzing your needs, and then we're going to propose technology solution, and then we're going to go step by step, propose you a roadmap, and so on. And I should say that at first it was not easy because we were changing the model completely, right? It was much easier to say, okay, I have that much money to spend. Let's buy something new from Applied or something like that. As a matter of fact, a lot of brokers were saying, okay, give me the money. I'm going to spend it the way I want it to spend it. But after 3 years, I can say that it was well worth the energy that we spent on that because we learned so much. And now we're able to show projects that we did with different brokers that were a success, and now people understand, and they call us now to, when they want to choose a new technology, they have a need, they call us, they ask us for advice. We've got all kinds of documentation we can help, we can provide to them. So I would say that that financing was a big help for that reason.
Spending money is very easy. Yeah, government does it all the time. But spending it, spending it. I hope they're not watching. But but spending it in a way that actually provides a positive return on investment, a change in the business. That's the magic, right? The money is crucial, but spending it in the right way to get the benefits you want is just as crucial.
If I add something here, Tom, to your comment is, in the end, the grants that we distributed to different brokers and doesn't necessarily guarantee the success of each individual project that was made in the respective brokerages. But what it really did, it guaranteed RCCAQ to accumulate so much knowledge about the technology out there. The key element here is transparency. The grant helped us approach brokers, obviously with money to distribute, but in return is, hey, be completely transparent for the benefit of the rest of the community, of all the brokerages. Whatever you do needs to be completely open book so that we can provide support for another one, the next one that's going to do the same project. We've got the information on how the best practice is, how to approach this, what's the benefit of this. So the money that was spent for the ROI for the RCCAQ is probably in the end still happening right now because we constantly use that information and that data that we accumulated. So transparency here is the key thing.
I guess the fact of the matter is that no matter how much money you have, the RCCAQ cannot become the IT department for every brokerage in the province, right? You have to essentially teach people to teach themselves, in a sense. So those examples, those living lab projects become the teacher for the next, 50 brokerages who want to take advantage. So let's dig into that a little bit. So JP, I'm going to get you to wear both your hats here, broker, owner, and president of the tech committee. What, if you look at the results so far, the projects so far, what do you think has been the biggest win, the result that the team has delivered? Like what is the one where you look at it and go, that was our biggest one. That's our gold medal.
Yeah, as a broker and as an owner and someone that likes innovation, I'm tempted to answer that this living lab or this project, this concrete thing that we produced, whether it be Domano, whether it be Zoe CRM, whether it be Cassis, all these living labs that are really concrete that can be handed over as is to in the hands of any brokerage today. I would tend that one of those living labs would be the greatest success, but I can't choose. I really, really think that the Summit Tech that we're putting in place, and that now we're into our third year of the Summit Tech, has really brought people together, both the tech committee and the brokerages, and it's really brewing up awareness in Quebec about technology, and it's building some kind of momentum. Technology now is more available than ever. It's more accessible and it's easier to implement, or we think so. I think the Summit Tech is like becoming that hub there that, hey, I need to go there. RCCAQ is doing great stuff. So we're bringing people together that weren't doing that before. And I think in the end, that's what's going to pay more in its entirety. But like I said, as a president of a brokerage, I like to have these little toys, and the RCCAQ, these living labs did produce some toys like Domano, which is the online quoting that is redistributing the quotes coming from the web to different brokers that are registered there. Now, that's a service that's unheard of because, being on the web, you need to work on your SEO. You need to work on you need to build things and nourish it and all the time and always be working at it. Some brokerages don't have time and the resources to do that. A lot of the brokers don't. So RCCAQ puts this, and it's available to all brokerages. Hey, you want some leads from the web? Here it is, right? And other living labs that are really concrete. These are, really fantastic toys. Just the fact that we put things together, and that was one of my conditions. Remember, Éric, when you offered me the position of chair or president of the tech committee, I said under one condition: we cannot be talking about technology. We must be acting on technology. If it's not concrete, I will not take the mandate. And now it's been how many years? Because we are moving and we are putting concrete things in the hands of our brokerages, the brokerages here in Quebec. And we're really proud of that. Yeah.
Well, I have been to your first two tech summits, and I can tell you that I went in there thinking, well, I was going to go and do a keynote speech or the podcast that we did last year, thinking that was going to be it. I'd go there, do my thing, meet a few people, say hi, have a drink or two, and then go home. And I tell you, when I walked away from both the events, I was charged up. I was excited, and I wasn't even the target of the day, right? I was like feeling the energy in the room. I was like, man, this was fantastic. So as someone who went there as a independent observer, let's say, I walked away really enthused and excited and impressed with what you guys had done.
Thanks, Tom, for those comments, because it's a lot of hard work, and the work is not done because, Éric, you mentioned that awareness was really difficult at the beginning, or was it you, Yvan? But anyway, one of you two mentioned about awareness, and it's still a key factor here. Awareness, technology the reality is in brokerages, the technology for some is priority, but for most brokerages, most broker firms, is a thought, is an ideal, and I should get to it, but it pretty much stops there. Awareness of the urgency of acting with technology is not at the level where it should be. And this Summit Tech and what we're trying to do is we're still working very hard at this first level, which is awareness.
Great comments, JP, and I'd love the aspiration. So let's skip over 5 years of hard work, right? And let's go 5 years in the future. That the Quebec brokerage pace does seem to be accelerating relative to the rest of the country. Where do you think, what do you think that Quebec brokerage will look like 5 years from now? Or what do you hope that brokerage will look like 5 years from now?
If you ask me on a personal note, I hope that in 5 years, I hope that there's not so much difference between a Quebec brokerage and a Canadian broker. I hope there's not that much different, because what's lacking right now in the environment is this whole concept of connectivity that we've talked for, I don't know, way too much time. And once we do have this connected network where insurtechs, where BMSs and brokers and insurers can connect easily, I think there's going to be a movement towards a great improvement in all parts of the country. Here in Quebec, we started this hub thing, from nothing, and started discussions, and then discovered that the IBAC and CSIO has their superhighway project. So, we figured, hey guys, let's not do two highways along each other. Let's drop that and join in with the CSIO superhighway, because in the end, if we can get this whole Canadian environment, then the Canadian market is much more interesting. So we have to work together to do that. So that's my hope in 5 years. 5 years is that, can we get to a place, an environment where insurtechs, and where it's lively. Right now, there's a lot of obstacles for all this to happen. So I'm hoping that in 5 years, these obstacles will have diminished, and we're seeing much more adoption, easy adoption, and all that. So yeah, I don't think RCCAQ or Quebec brokers will be I hope not, will be much different than the rest.
Yeah, the one of the things that we should understand is that if we look at AI, it's the pace at which it's developing every month is unbelievable, right? So InsurTech are going to add into their product that new features that will accelerate the way we're doing business, and it's not going to be different for the brokers. So the term I would use is augmented human. Okay, this is what we want to achieve with the brokers. We want them to have tools that will help them better do their job. They will always be there, because the human concept needs, when we're talking about brokers, we're talking about the human you exchange with. So maybe four things that we need to consider. As Jean-Philippe mentioned, better integration. So in 5 years, there shouldn't be any more question about integration. All technologies, all tools should be integrated. No more copy and paste. No more back and forth between different systems. It should be a smooth process when you talk to a customer. And the last one is quick access to information. you shouldn't have to search for, 30, 20 minutes to get some information to your customer. You should have it at the tip of your fingers.
Éric, did you want to add something?
Juste mentionner que ce qu'on dit, c'est la cible, c'est ce qu'on a appelé le cabinet numérique, hein, le digital brokerage. That's the target. C'est la cible. Je pense qu'on s'en va vers là. Et dans 5 ans, en tout cas, moi, j'espère qu'on va être là. Donc, digital brokerage. Voilà.
The world of insurance is changing because the world of tech is changing. Join us on the journey at ibactech.ca.